I think Sage Mode Kashin Koji basically scales over Naruto due to feats. AP and speed, he scales the Ishiki. He tanked the punch from Ishiki in the anime. He also was reacting to Ishiki as well. And he actually forced Ishiki to use Sukuna Hikoda and Daikuten. He scales the Ishiki who scales over current Naruto because Ishiki scales over 6th Path Sage Mode Naruto who scales over current Naruto. OG is just above him in speed and AP because of the Ishiki feats.
Current Naruto is relevant, and even though he didn't have barrier mode, even in that fight with Kurama, he was still to hold his own and take punches and survive. He definitely training, and he's still alive. Naruto knows way more jutsu.
Which version of Naruto do you think is stronger?
Current. He is older and he trains and he probably honed his jutsu skills.
It's the same Naruto. 6th Path Sage Mode Naruto and Sage Mode Naruto, they're the same age. It's the same person, it's just a different form.
He has that and Kurama. He's probably slightly stronger, but it's not that much stronger because all he's getting is just the Kurama buff.
Again, Kashin Koji's keeping up with Ishiki. Ishiki's speedless in Naruto. The same Naruto that you just said slightly stronger. Even if you want to say slightly stronger, he's still stronger. Kashin Koji would basically still be a tier above the current Naruto. Usually, if we see him fighting one-on-one, he's usually stronger than him. Like Delta, stronger. Shin, stronger, who's just like rusty. If he's fighting somebody that's stronger than him, he usually has backup. I'm talking about people that's literally like Kaguya, stronger than Naruto. He needs help. Fuse Momoshiki. People argue that Momoshiki's stronger than Naruto. He needs help.
The best that Koji did was Ishiki flew at him, he blocked Ishiki's punch, then Ishiki sent him flying across the battlefield.
Well, he tanked it. Don't say like he punched him and he tanked the punch. Yeah, he got bodied by a hack's ability. Ishiki did not overpower and outspeed. He wasn't faster. He didn't outpower him. He used a hack's ability and caught him off guard. Nothing in the story contradicts me saying that he kills the Ishiki.
So you don't think that he overpowered Koji physically? When they do their clash, Koji wasn't strong enough to hold him off for long enough, and then Ishiki hit him with his elbow and sent him flying across the battlefield.
I didn't say like he wasn't stronger. I still think he scales to him due to the fact that he did tank his punch and he reacted to him in the first place to block his attack. I'm going off of the anime because that's what I recently watched. Almost the same in the manga.
Kashin Koji does his fire flames, Ishiki shrinks them. There's fire in front of his face. He's not using his Byakugan. He cannot see through the flames. Koji appears above him. So he used the fire flames as a distraction. That's not really a speed blitz at all.
Well, no, well, it is a speed blitz because he did see him coming too. It wasn't like the flames fully made him off guard. He shrunk the flames. Kashin Koji made his presence known because in the anime, you clearly see like smoke from like the Rasengan. And Ishiki's like looking up at him. So he clearly knows he's coming at him. He just doesn't react in time. He has to, well, we don't know if he could react, but it's implied that he couldn't react because he had to use the hack's ability. I wasn't trying to say speed blitz him, but he definitely forced him into using the hack's ability. He's really strategic based on what we know, like he's analytical based on how he was observing. The karma process was like the karma resonation process with Kawaki and Boruto. So he's smart, he's strategic in battle. In base, I think it's implied that he's like stronger than Delta based on what we've seen after Delta fights Naruto at full strength and she comes back to the hideout and figures out Kashin Koji and Amato was up to something. It's kind of like implied that he was gonna beat her ass.
I simply think that he was just going to steal her. If you look at the hand sign that Koji was using,
Starting off, Naruto has the Age of Wisdom boost. It stacks onto his Sage Mode as well as his face, obviously, because it's just determined by age. And as we know, Kashin Koji is like 3, so he would not receive this Age of Wisdom boost. And so we've seen Naruto in Part 1 and Shippuden generally not be as smart. However, we see at the end of Shippuden, he goes through this sort of a time skip, not training, but mentally researching, going through all these different books in order to reach the rank of Jonin so that he can become Hokage. Not only that, but he's received the experience of being Hokage for several years up to this point. That argument of him being sort of a dunce or anything like that would just be thrown out the window. Jiraiya's never had any kind of experience, and let alone this isn't even Jiraiya. This is Kashin Koji, who again is like 3 at this time. Not much experience in life, combat, or any kind of books related. He doesn't have any history. Naruto has the experience to back it up. He's been in the 4th grade Shinobi War. He's fought countless battles against all of his opponents, all of which he's been able to overcome through his unpredictable nature. So as we've seen, his unpredictable nature is clearly based on some sort of logic, otherwise he wouldn't be able to pull out the dub time and time again as a main character. It's a narrative implication that he's able to overcome any antagonist that would come his way. Kashin Koji has been presented as an antagonist throughout some of the series, as well as his Kashin Koji's fate in order to sort of be the loser. Not necessarily to die, but to lose, to allow someone else to surpass him eventually. As we've seen, Naruto has already done this in the Pain arc. Why is we debating this now that we're a good 15 arcs ahead of the Pain arc?
Kashin Koji being 3 doesn't really matter because we do see like what he's actually doing in the narrative. I don't think age really matters because based on what we see, he's obviously watching the karma resonation process and obviously determining a conclusion from that. And then we also see later on in battle versus Ishiki Otsutsuki, he's one of the more powerful characters we've ever seen. He's using the flames to distract Ishiki. He's also using a giant Rasengan. He's just implementing different strategies in battle versus Ishiki. A lot of people like to say preparation. Just because you're prepared for something doesn't automatically mean you're going to succeed in battle doing it. So Kashin Koji is also a very smart character, even though he doesn't have as many things to point to as Naruto.
Naruto could use shadow clones, right? And he absorbed knowledge from shadow clones. He has Shikamaru, who's one of the smartest people in like all of the Leaf Village. Sasuke as well. He got those 2 people in his ear for over the time as a Hokage. It's not like he's not paying attention to what they're saying. Just the people around him are highly intelligent people. And the other Hokages are still around. He's not around dumb people at all. and him maturing as a man again, older. I don't think he's still a dumb teenager.
And then, like, you also have, like, some stuff in the war where, like, Naruto's able to figure out Ten-Tail Obito's weakness before people like Minato and Sasuke, and even Tobirama to a certain extent, before they were able to figure out Obito's weakness. Naruto caught on, and then Tobirama caught on after Naruto, and they're also some of the most intelligent characters within the series.
When it comes to like Naruto's intelligence feats and Shippuden, I really think he's nerfed. Kurama alluded to it back when he fought Shin, in terms of especially mentally, because we do know that being the Hokage, doing a lot of work, paperwork, is very exhausting. I mean, the dude wasn't around his family. Mentally, for him to be prepared in battle in terms of strategically, him being Hokage has affected him. So I don't think he's as good intelligence-wise as he once was. And I think Boruto actually is consistent with this because he's not accomplishing the same feats as he once did in Shippuden as it pertains to intelligence.
I just think that he's had a lot less opportunities to do so. He's only really had 3 fights within the series. Kurama just simply meant that Naruto was rusty in terms of battle intelligence, he was rusty in terms of what he was able to output in terms of battle, and he was even shown in the anime. Right after that arc, Naruto starts training with shinobi around the village already to get them prepared, and he starts training in order to stop being rusty himself. And then you never even see any reference points after that fact that Naruto is rusty. If Naruto was still rusty, Kurama would have commented on it.
Because the comment is in reference to him being the Hokage, so as long as he's the Hokage, I see that the things that he's doing as it pertains to him being the Hokage, whatever responsibilities that comes with, that it is still making him rusty, whether or not he's training. He trained before.
Well,
he trained for years after.
It's just simply that as soon as Naruto became Hokage, he stopped training altogether. That's why he became rusty, because he was constantly behind a desk all the time, and this didn't bother the train. He also never really went into battle for those many periods of years. After the Shin fight, he goes out of his way to train. We see that in the anime.
Yeah, he's breaking out of high-level Jonin sailing jutsu.
Yeah, in order to test them. No,
like, why does all that mean that he's not rusty from being the Hokage? Because what I'm saying is he's rusty from being the Hokage, and he's still the Hokage. Sure, he could be doing all these other activities that would help him, but nonetheless, that's not changing what his job is. It's being the Hokage.
Because being Hokage is inherently an intelligence feat in and of itself. The fact that Naruto is constantly creating a change in the world and maintaining the era of peace is in itself showing his intelligence. Being able to do that shows
that's in reference to, that's not in reference to his intelligence. That's just because he's overwhelmingly powerful than everybody else, and that's really why the Leaf Village is the strongest village, or the best village, is because they have the most power out of every other shinobi village, and that pertains to Naruto being the Hokage. Back in the novels when Kakashi was like training Naruto, he was pretty much behind on everything. He's intelligent as it pertains to battle, but let's not act like he's the smartest dude. The karma resonation process, the fact that he's observing this alien technology that's taking place and noticing a change, a special change that we yet to see in the series so far, is definitely an intelligence feat that with Naruto and Boruto, I don't know if you can name something that he's done that surpasses that. I don't see it.
I wouldn't really call that like a battle intelligence though.
Yeah,
in the anime, he was watching Kawaki and Boruto training with Naruto, and I think Boruto activated his karma. They're in combat, and Boruto's karma responds to Kawaki's karma, and he's watching this, and he notes it in the anime. I keep saying observing because that applies to combat as well. He has to observe what Sage Mode Naruto is doing, how he's doing it. We know Naruto likes to implement shadow clones, and he's sneaky in battle. He pulls things out of his you know what. And with Kashin Koji's observation skills and what we've seen with him with the karma, that does apply to combat as well. To be intelligent, you have to observe. Like, I think observing is a part of being intelligent. He said it was resonating. I don't think he knew that it could resonate. Their karmas being in a close vicinity, I don't think he knew they could resonate with each other and speed up the karma process. And I think that's what he was alluding to when he saw it take place. So that's why I'm saying it applies to combat.
If he says it, I don't think he's still just observing it resonating. If you're commenting on a resonating karma,
but he's never seen that before.
That's not stating anything new.
He's never seen that before though. He's never seen the karma resonating before.
If Naruto was the one that saw that, he would have just like bright colors.
So one thing I was
like, if you know this is resonating.
If you have any knowledge on karma in general, and you see that Kawaki activate karma and then Boruto's karma activates automatically, someone with a relatively good or high intelligence would be able to observe that. So I wouldn't say like, yo, that's some high level Kage tier intelligence feat to just observe that. But I would say that it does somewhat count to his overall intelligence to be able to observe it. But I don't think it's nothing to like change in a versus battle with Naruto to say, yo, this is what makes him more intelligent than Naruto.
The reason I'm saying this is because, like, did anybody else notice it at that point?
Yeah, and
maybe I was going too far when I was saying like it's some alien technologies. Like, obviously it's a simple observation, but what I'm saying is if he can do this just by, you know, watching the karma and being, you know, very attentive and aware, I think that does help him in battle, especially with Sage Mode, because he has to be aware of what Naruto is doing, because like I said, it's established in Naruto's characterization to do things that he might not see coming. He didn't see the karma resonation process coming. He spotted it right on sight. Naruto pulling something out of his, you know what, he can spot it right on sight. So I just think it helps him, even if it's a little bit.
Well, technically Naruto wasn't in that situation.
We know that Naruto can still implement his old strategies that he used to do as a kid in battle. We saw that in the Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki fight. Granted, Sasuke was there, but I see no reason why he can't do that with himself with a shadow clone, which he would be able to use against Koji, because Koji Koji can't absorb anything. We know that he's still able to implement some of the stuff that he used to be able to do when he was a teenager. That rust that he would have isn't as much of a rust as you would initially think that it would be.
Well, the feat you're pointing to is really simplistic. And again, this is why I say it's not an intelligence feat, because that's something like you alluded to. He's done it as a kid. So that's something like, it's kind of like if you ever play basketball. It's like you shoot a certain way as a kid, you have a same form. If you apply that to Naruto, I just think he's used to implementing that certain strategy that he did. I think you're talking about like when he threw it against Zabuza or whatever, the wind blade shuriken. I just think that's simple. I think that's just establishing Naruto's character, but I don't think that's like a crazy
but
intelligence.
if you remember something that he did like 20 years ago at that point, he's only done it, I think, maybe 3 times throughout the entire series, maybe 4. So if he remembers that in particular, why wouldn't he remember all the other battle stuff that he used to be able to achieve?
Well, that's the thing.
We know that Naruto is particularly observant. When the Toad does his little stage mode blast on Jubito, he's very observant, he's looking, then he goes and then puts it into action. We know against the third Raikage, he sees the scar on his chest, he gets some info. He was still able to figure out that, like, having the knowledge isn't what the impressive thing was, is being able to implement the knowledge that he did know into the battle. He was able to realize that, oh, that scar, who gave him the scar? Oh, it had to be him. Let me have him hit him. I think that would imply that he's somewhat observant. Not only that, but he was observant in the Delta fight. When he put his Rasengan inside of Delta, Delta shot it back at him, meaning that there's some type of capacity inside of Delta, and then he later on in the fight tries to overload her capacity, knowing that she was able to shoot it out before, meaning that there's a capacity. So he was able to be observant to that in particular, and then remember that later on in the fight. He's also not only in the battle, guiding Delta away from the battlefield in order to keep the kids out of the situation. He's going out of his way to sweep her to one direction.
I agree with most of what you're saying, but do you think Naruto is so intelligent that he would like outsmart Kashin Koji in battle? Or do you think Kashin Koji is smart enough to see some things coming?
I don't think that either one of them is smarter than the... Well, I think Koji probably does edge out Naruto, at least a little bit if you only use Boruto era stuff in terms of intelligence, but I don't think it's to like some significant degree that's going to make like a huge difference within this battle.
Naruto has the experience to back it up. Throughout all of Boruto, we haven't seen him be able to use this experience because, let's be honest, Naruto's just that guy. So he's out here fighting all these grasshoppers, basically, as some 300-pound bully. All he has to do is step on them. He's doing giant Rasengan versus Delta. He doesn't need to do anything else. So he's out here fighting these little people. He doesn't need to show his intelligence. So again, it's just stepping on a grasshopper. He doesn't need to use intelligence to do that.
But as it pertains to the villains that they're fighting, Boruto versus Shippuden, we can say like the villains are stronger. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So he has to...
Intelligence in those fights.
Right, but that's what intelligence are you...
Okay, well, I could list a million feats. He caught Datara off guard, he caught Sasori off guard.
In Boruto.
Again, he doesn't need to use this intelligence feat in Boruto. He's not...
But you just agreed that Boruto villains are stronger and more powerful than Naruto villains.
I agreed that Naruto villains are stronger than Boruto villains. In terms of Naruto.
Okay, then my point. I can't use that. But okay, so why do you think that? Why do you think Naruto villains are stronger than Boruto villains?
Compared to Naruto, I'm saying that Naruto is weaker than the villains he fights in Naruto, but Naruto's stronger than the villains he fights in Boruto.
So you think he's stronger than like Fuse Momoshiki like one-on-one?
Yeah, absolutely. In the manga, he absolutely crushed him. It wasn't even close.
It's
the
just
anime
that
spiced it up with nice little animation.
We're using both anime and manga, so
right.
It depends on the continuity, because in the anime, he didn't do that. It just didn't happen. Momoshiki was keeping up with both Naruto and Sasuke.
Neither Kashin Koji or Naruto, they're basically on a similar tier of, intelligence, and I don't think either one of them will be able to outsmart each other based on what we've seen in the Boruto era, and based on the negatives of Naruto becoming the Hokage, and that was simply noted by Kurama at the start of Boruto, and I do think it applies here because he still is doing his Hokage duties, so I think his intelligence is nerfed versus from what we've seen. The karma point, resonation point, it might not be all that, but I think it is something, and then obviously the strategies that he implemented versus Ishiki as well entails that he's very intelligent in battle.
There's never any kind of reputation on the Age of Wisdom buff, so that's just an unscalable buff that can goes to infinity.
We don't really know what that is. That's why I'm not using
We don't know what that is.
We don't know what it does.
So
we don't know how it works.
Because the opponent never attacked it, I can just say it scales to infinity. So Naruto is infinitely more intelligent. So going beyond that, I also say that Naruto has the experience to back it up both in combat and as a Hokage. So he's been able to change the world and stuff. He's able to adapt to any situation. We also see that Kashin Koji is like 3 years old. We don't even know if he's potty trained. I know a lot of 3-year-olds that aren't potty trained, and we've seen Naruto on the toilet. So.
OD.
I refuted that. I said he became the Hokage. Sage Mode Kashin Koji scales to Ishiki Otsutsuki.
Why?
Probably waiting to say
He
that.
reacts to Ishiki Otsutsuki in Sage Mode.
Oh yeah, win. Prove it. Prove it wasn't off guard. Yeah, prove it wasn't off guard.
Wait, Ishiki, whoa. Ishiki flew at Kashin Koji, and he counters, and he blocks the attack. So his speed scales to Ishiki Otsutsuki.
Alright, let me give you a little analogy here. Alright, so if I got... Who's the fastest runner in the world? What's his name?
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt. If I got Usain Bolt on the other end of the football field, he's sprinting straight at me, and I put my arms up because I got a good 10 seconds because he's a good mile away from me on the other end of the football field. Does that scale me to Usain Bolt?
Well, god dang, a football field?
How far away was Ishiki at this
feel that
time for Kashin Koji to have enough time to move his arms a couple inches in the upwards direction?
Well, if he can move his arms and react to Ishiki, why can't he move his body?
He didn't dodge it, he blocked it. So he couldn't move out of the way. Otherwise, he
Why
just
are
would
you
have.
why are you presupposing that he couldn't if he just blocked it?
If he could have dodged, he would have dodged and then used like one of his like fire jutsu in order to distract Ishiki, but he chose to block it instead. That implies that he couldn't move out of the way and he had no choice but to block it.
I just think he thinks he's stronger than Ishiki. That's why he blocked it. He didn't think he was gonna overpower him, so he blocked it. Why are y'all presupposing that he couldn't dodge just because he didn't?
Because dodging would just be a smarter battle tactician, but I guess we already gave the intelligence point to Naruto, so I guess that makes sense that Koji wouldn't do the smart thing in the situation.
What's the reputation?
I mean, I guess we already went over it, that Koji wasn't smart enough to dodge.
And then we also see Koji, he's doing all of his like fire fist to Ishiki. Ishiki's just casually blocking each one. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he overpowers him with a punch.
He still tanked it though, but that's a different argument. He reacted when he flew at it.
It's like the amount of effort you think Ishiki's putting in here.
Why isn't he going all out? Kashin Koji is viewed as like a traitor in his eyes. And if anything, the fact that he has like a lifespan, it really implies that he's trying to go ahead and get Kashin Koji out the way.
So him pulling out wine in the middle of
I
a
will
fight
say
isn't
That was
good.
before
that
Sage Mode. Before Sage Mode.
When he punched Kashin Koji away, Ishiki here never used any of his chakra rods, which we know are incredibly fast. So instead of
yeah,
charging
he did.
at Kashin Koji, he could have used his chakra rods against Koji instead.
Why does him not using the chakra rods mean that he's holding back in speed? Like if I have a gun,
Oh,
me
it's
and
more
you're like
so
fighting.
I'm saying
if,
like
if
the amount of effort that he is putting in.
But why did the chakra rods equate to his punches?
No, I mean as to the fight as a whole, the amount of effort he's putting into the fight as a whole.
So you're saying because he didn't use abilities that means he's holding back his punches? That one that Kashin Koji reacted to and like blocked? So you don't think he's going all out in that instance?
I just think that he just flew at Kashin Koji. But I
see-
mean, there's nothing really to say that he wasn't going all out. It
Right.
just doesn't really seem like he is.
Well,
I don't think
I'm
he's
saying
going all out just based off the statements that Ishiki says. Ishiki directly says, it doesn't matter what you try, you cannot defeat me, ever. So Ishiki is confident in this fight, he knows that he's going to beat Koji, he might as well just toy around with him because he wants Koji to suffer in this instance.
Again, you're
confident when you're vegan and die.
well, yeah, you're just assuming that. Like,
No, I'm not, I have evidence to back it up.
just because he's okay. So if we're in a boxing ring and we're
One
fighting,
second.
is this before Sage Mode? Is before Kashin Koji is in Sage Mode?
Fought 2 Kage level fighters, which that doesn't put him on Ishiki's level, but that is the speed feat. When you fought Boruto Air Kakashi, you fought Konohamaru, Koji used his air jutsu on Ishiki. Ishiki didn't react, let him slam him.
Is that really a speed feat for Kashin Koji?
His air
Why
jutsu was
wouldn't it
fast
be?
enough to catch Ishiki off guard. without
Ishiki just
reacting.
stood there. He let him do that.
So do you agree with the original point though? That like he did react to like Ishiki flying at him and trying to like harm him, and there's no evidence to say that he's not going all out other than he's confident. But again, I was gonna bring up the analogy like if we're two boxers in a ring and I'm confident as a fighter, does that mean I'm holding back against you? I don't think we can assume that that's the case.
The boxing ring analogy. So that's just disanalogous because this, first of all, isn't a boxing ring. Second of all, this isn't like a high octane sport where you gotta win for money and that if you don't go all out then you're gonna lose your sponsors or any of this other stuff. No, Koji can just play around. When you're stomping on an ant, you're not going all out to stomp on that ant, you're just doing it for fun. That would just be applicable here. So to address the things that you said earlier, so the reason that he isn't going all out, and we know this for a fact, he would have just done so earlier. He wouldn't have waited for Koji to get to this moment to attack in the first place because he knew 2 months ago when the airship crashed that Koji was behind it. But the entire time, he's waiting for Koji just to dig himself into a deeper and deeper hole. So the moment he found out is the moment he should have attacked based on what you're saying.
And I think that the fact that he's also holding back abilities throughout the entire fight is more precedent that he's not taking this as seriously as he possibly could.
One thing I would say though is when I step on ants, I go all out, bro.
I go crazy. Like, you got to your house, bro. Don't act, bro. You got to around your house, around your food while you eating, bro. You already know you're trying to kill it. Like, come on, bro. Stop the cap. I think that's disanalogous as well because I don't think Kashin Koji is viewed as an ant. Ishiki is supremely confident in his abilities. I don't think he viewed him as an ant. I just think he viewed him as like, a fly around the trash can. I'm trying to swat him, but I can't. That's all it is. So he has to use a hack. He got to get the fly swatter and knock it around because he couldn't do it with his hands. Sure, he is weaker and he views him as being weaker, but I don't think that means he wasn't trying to kill him. Just like a fly. Just because a fly is weaker doesn't mean you're not trying to go all out to kill the fly or get
And
it
then
out
we
your
also see how like Kashin Koji wasn't able to react to Ishiki's second punch as well. They're doing the fire punches. Ishiki shrinks Kashin Koji's fire punch, and then Ishiki just punches him. Kashin Koji's not able to react to this punch, and it's not he directly punches him. He winds up his punch, giving Kashin Koji enough time to react in that moment, and he just couldn't.
You go all out, right? Trying to hit a fly, and you miss it. Does it mean the fly is faster than you?
Yes, it's it's faster than your hand, yes.
There might be one instance that he got lucky, he put his hands up, and that just so happened to be where Ishiki was attacking, but we have multiple instances where Ishiki is just landing blow on blow, whereas Koji isn't able to do the same thing, so I don't think they're relevant at all.
Well, he wasn't going all out. He was holding back because he knew he was a scrub.
This contradicts your argument. If he's punching Kashin Koji in the face and like beating him up or whatever, that means he's going all out.
Why would it mean that?
Why does it mean that?
So he's beating him up, but he's not going all out.
Right. What's wrong
I
with
think
that?
what they're arguing is that he's not going all out. So him beating him wouldn't equate to him going all out. They're arguing that they're arguing that he's beating Kashin Koji without using all of his power. So him doing the same thing in the image wouldn't be a counter to that argument.
So y'all just saying he's not going all out at all.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying.
So you see Kashin Koji's throwing all of his fire punches. You see Ishiki, he shrinks all of them. Ishiki winds up his punch and Koji cannot react.
And they're both just standing there looking at each other, so it's not off guard. He's
So
just faster.
And he's using... Bro, come on, man.
So by your logic, not only did he not dodge, which would have been better, but he also didn't block, which was his alternative contingency plan here.
This is him using Sukuna Hikona, though. Like, he's not...
the first part.
He's shrinking the fire.
Yeah, he's shrinking the fire.
He's using his ability. So why is he not going all out if he's using his ability? If he's using his Hikona ability to shrink the fire, why would he not be going all out? That makes no sense. If I have a gun on me that's fully loaded and you're beating me up and I don't shoot it, that means I'm not going all out. But this isn't the case here. He's just shrinking it with his ability.
To nullify the ability, so it doesn't hurt.
That could imply that he probably can't even tank his punches if he punched him in the face. If he's shrinking the attacks.
No, just the fire would hurt him. Ishiki, he shrinks all of Kashin Koji's fire, whatever. But Ishiki is right in front of Kashin Koji's face and he cannot react to Ishiki's punch. And then Ishiki winds up his punch in front of Kashin Koji's face and he cannot get out of the way in time to block the punch or dodge the punch. He gets directly hit. The only time where Kashin Koji ever scales to Ishiki's speed is when Ishiki is traveling or is from above and then going down. And then he has no choice but to block the punch. Other than that, it's either they're switching off of each other or Ishiki overpowers him in terms of speed and strength.
In this instance, he's fatigued. He threw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punches.
Okay.
With fire. So he's just fatigued, and that's why he punches him. So he's not full power.
Sorry, what?
Oh my god.
If me and you are fighting, and you let me punch you 5 times in the face, and I stop, you don't think my arms are gonna be tired? And you just don't have an easy opportunity to punch me?
5 punches though? Here, hold up.
That's how many he threw
What happened to the
in
timer,
this
bro? What
instance.
happened to telling people to stop? What happened to the timer? What happened to
1,
that buzzer?
2, 3, 4, 5. Actually 6 punches in this one instance. So if I punch him in the face 6 times, you don't think I'm gonna be tired?
Honestly,
You
a
gonna have
better
opportunity to punch
encounter
me?
would have been that he's off guard.
How was he off guard?
That would be a better encounter.
That's the worst one, Sarron. Dang, bruh.
No,
You know that's worse, bruh.
Sage Mode Koji is not faster than base Naruto.
But you never scaled Ishiki to anything, so we could just say Ishiki is like Snello.
Well, look at you, bro. Oh my god.
When going to the battle versus code, Sage Mode Naruto is able to keep up with Shikamaru. They're both going full speed to the battle. So therefore, Sage Mode Naruto scales to Shikamaru, who scales above the 5 Kage, who scale above Kinshiki, who scales relative to Momoshiki, who scales relative to Boroshiki, who scales relative to Kawashiki, who scales relative to Ishiki. So boom.
Wait, why did
Naruto is above
I didn't follow that at all.
Wait. Can you say that one more time, but
Slowly. Let me count it.
You want to break my scaling chain there?
Alright, so
So what are you saying is like Naruto? This is ridiculous.
What's that?
Naruto's movement, the beginning of the code battle is relative to Shikamaru, and Shikamaru I guess is stronger than the Kage because the way he plays them all in Shadow Paralysis in that one novel, and then like the Kage Washi and Shiki, so the Kage are above him, so this puts Shikamaru technically above Kinshiki. Like,
Whoa.
Now, not only are you not wrong, but this is actually the shortened version because this is actually backed up other places in the manga, such as when Shikamaru dodges full power Delta, just scaling relative to previous Naruto. So with this scaling chain, Sage Mode Naruto is as strong as he was when he had Kurama, if not stronger. Juju, the ball is in your court.
Well, I missed everything, bro. What just happened?
That's in
bro?
general,
Okay.
bro. SM Naruto.
Refute this, or it passes, and we got the speed.
Why is Kinshiki and Momoshiki over Kawashiki and Boroshiki?
Why would they not be?
Because Kawashiki is 80% of Ishiki, which is stronger than Fused Momoshiki. Wait, why is Ishiki below Kinshiki and Momoshiki?
Well, don't ask me why, you just break the scaling chain.
Well, I'm saying, what's the reason and why? I could just put a scale in and just say, yeah, this is my scaling, but I'm saying, like,
and then
what's the reason?
then I would refute why it's incorrect. You're not refuting why it's incorrect.
Okay, I'll just repeat what I said. Why is Kinshiki and Momoshiki over Kawashiki? That's 80% of Ishiki.
Why do I need to answer that?
Oh my goodness.
Because they're not over.
Wait.
Oh,
Wait, Juju, just, instead of asking him to answer the question for you, just provide the answer that you have. And then-
Okay,
Because he's not
Kinshiki and
gonna
Momoshiki isn't over Kawashiki. Why? Because Kawashiki is 80% of Ishiki. Therefore, he's stronger than Fused Momo.
Can you prove that?
He tanks hits from like Baryon mode and still survives.
Okay, and it's stated that Baryon mode punches aren't any stronger than normal punches. It's the siphoning ability that gives Baryon mode such a big strength.
So if I punch you in the face like 50 times in a row, you don't think like that would be a feat if you like tank him?
That's disanalogous.
How is that disanalogous?
That'd be assuming my face is made out of metal in this instance.
Why is your face? Wait, what?
Because Ishiki isn't getting any stronger. Naruto's regular punches and Naruto's Baryon mode punches did the same amount of damage. It's the siphoning ability from the Baryon mode punches that do the damage.
Right, so he's receiving damage, correct? And he tanked the damage, right? He survived after taking the damage, correct?
I'm going to argue that no, he didn't, because his lifespan was shortened. So that's literally taking away his life.
Well,
His
that's
punches were
after-
literally killing him. So
That was after Baryon mode was defeated basically due to durability, but
Ishiki's stating it as it's going on, as the battle's going on, when Naruto's still in Baryon mode.
just because he died like afterwards doesn't mean he didn't tank the punches.
If I stab you, you die because I stabbed you. It doesn't matter if it happened
By
20 minutes
extension.
later or not.
Sure, by extension.
Then by extension, Naruto killed Ishiki.
That's fair. So that means he did tank his punches.
No, he didn't, because all the damage went through. If I stab you and you live and then die 20 minutes later, you didn't tank my knife. You still took the full damage of the knife.
After he fights Barry Yamo Naruto, if Kawaki wasn't like hiding, he would have reincarnated. So the scaling is broken. Throw it away.
Why would the scaling
And
be
bad
broken?
takes. Because Kinshiki and Momoshiki don't scale over Kawashiki.
You didn't prove that.
Well, what are we
You
just talking
said
about?
it, but that doesn't prove it. You need evidence.
Why do you have
Wait, and-
Shikamaru above the 5 Kage?
Okay, sorry, whose side are you on?
I'm just asking you.
was
Like,
prepared
okay,
for
I
this.
guess I'll put it in text.
Bro, he was prepared for this, dude. He was prepared since yesterday.
He said he wrote it down
Hold on,
as he
hold
was talking. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Why is Ishiki under Kawaki?
I can type
What's going on?
fast.
Why do you have Borishiki above Ishiki, Momoshiki above Ishiki, Kenshiki above Ishiki? What is this?
Alright, so
Bro,
That's my question.
I wanna-
Why
I
is
wanna-
it?
Hold on.
Alright.
I'm pretty sure in the novel, Shikamaru only puts 2 of the Kage under Shadow Crown.
Alright, so because
time's up for
the
Naruto
Jiggling-
time. Time up.
We've agreed our opponent
I'm about to
has
go.
scaled
2 minutes.
Koji relative to 10% Jigen when he's in Sage Mode, and for us we have Sage Mode Naruto over Ishiki, and that's all we need to say for our conclusion. Thank you.
I'm on your team and I don't agree Sage when Naruto's above Ishiki.
Dude, it's that Age of Wisdom though.
I'm disoriented, I've been hit by a truck.
Okay, well.
If I punch you in the face and you tank my punch, it doesn't mean that you can punch me equally as hard. Kashin Koji tanked his punch, that means he can punch equally as hard.
AP and DC are two completely different things. So DC is destructive capacity. It's how much damage you're able to output in general, just raw damage, raw numbers. That's where you get calculations from. AP is more of this scaling chain kind of logic where you're able to deal as much damage as you can tank. Goku can tank his own Kamehameha. So that's his AP right there, is he's able to tank his own
Yeah,
attack.
because you have to be able to punch something with as much force as you can. Because otherwise you just break your hand. Your hand would just break.
Because we all agree that Kid Sasuke can't tank his own Chidori, but we're not worrying about that because that'd be more destructive capacity. We're worried about AP of what he can
Well-
actually tank. So it's just
well,
assumed in the debate.
Scale Naruto and Kashin Koji's striking strength, then you can scale their attack potency based on their abilities as well.
Going back to what he was saying, so he's saying that Koji's AP is relative to Ishiki because he was able to tank Ishiki's punches, which is relative to Baron mode Naruto. So the reason this doesn't work is because we've already established earlier in this debate, at the previous point to be exact, that Ishiki wasn't going all out. So it's not Koji tanking Ishiki's punches, it's Koji tanking Nerf Ishiki's punches. For all we know, I could tank Nerf Ishiki's punches because he's not going all out. We don't know how much he's applying his strength here.
He's even more nerf against like Barry Yamo Naruto due to the fact that he has like a lower life force.
No, I wouldn't, because at the beginning of the fight, he wouldn't have a lower life force.
At the beginning, well, he did fight Naruto and Sasuke prior.
That didn't shrink his life force.
Why not?
Because
The life
his
force
life force
shrinks anyway.
was-
He only had 3 days. So
Yeah,
every
so
second,
that's
every
from
minute.
fighting. That's not from fighting. Everyone in the series, except for Madara and Kaguya, are not immortal. Therefore, they're all linearly approaching their same natural lifespan. So the nerf, quote unquote, would just apply to everyone.
Well, it's not applied to Ishiki because he's in an imperfect vessel because the body is like breaking down. That's why he only had 3 days to live. So even if in between the time span of him fighting Koji and fighting Naruto, I could argue he's still nerfed.
We physically see what happens when his natural lifespan starts running out. He doesn't Thanos vanish. We see his body starts to crack and crumble, then he falls to the ground, etc., etc. We see that all happen towards the very end of his natural lifespan. Therefore, it's not just an instant poof because we see it happen. We don't see any kind of ill effects up to that point. We don't see him coughing up blood or anything. We see him fight Naruto, and due to the effects of that, he does. However, it's not due to his natural lifespan in any kind of way.
Why not? Because don't you agree that like your lifespan is linked to like your chakra? So if his lifespan is running out, his chakra is as well.
No, I don't agree with that.
The easiest example I can give of why like life force is linked to chakra is Edo Nagato absorbs Biju chakra from Naruto and Kurama and B, and he gets younger as a result, which means that chakra is linked to life force. So if his life force is decreasing, that does mean his chakra is as well.
The Edos themselves prove that it's disanalogous because Edos don't have life force.
Well, if they're Edos, they are brought back to life.
No. It's the Rin Tensei that brings him back to life. That's why Madara didn't do that until he could.
He still gained chakra and he got younger. Edo Nagato, like his appearance, he literally became like younger after
He might
absorbed
appear
chakra.
younger, but he didn't become younger.
You said he didn't become younger?
Right.
Why did he become? He literally, if you look at his appearance, it's obvious he became younger.
If he looks like he's becoming younger, that doesn't really change anything. You have to prove that he's becoming physically stronger or anything because he's quote-unquote looking younger. That doesn't really apply to anything. You gotta correlate it to something.
Well, I'm correlating it to his life force and the chakra increasing, therefore his life force increasing. That's why he got younger.
You didn't really refute that the Edos don't have life force.
Well, they have chakra.
Juju, there is actually an argument that you can make that his life force, life.
You're gonna argue for
Oh
the
wait,
other
yeah.
side?
No, what is going on? I'm confused what team you on.
Aron is like he is a double agent here.
hey,
I
I
swear.
don't know.
like, oh, when you-
Whatever.
Sarron, argue for your team, bro. Argue for your team. Settle out, bro. Don't get settled.
Betrayed.
I already said that the Rin Tensei already gives them the life
my
force,
God.
and you didn't really refute that. So you want to go
Well,
back to that point?
I've already refuted that.
Can
They
y'all
have
hear me
chakra,
now?
which means that you have. When Kakashi ran out of chakra, he died, correct?
Edo Tensei is a contradiction because if it's directly correlated, if you have 0 life force and 0 chakra, then why do the Edo Tensei have 0 life force but they have chakra? As shown, the Rin Tensei already disproves this. They haven't used the Rin Tensei. Their soul is in this world, but they aren't alive yet.
So,
They're in a corpse.
you know, why does that not mean that they're alive via the use of chakra? And they are, in fact, alive because they're able to, like, communicate.
They're zombies. Naruto directly calls Madara a zombie.
They're not zombies. They can talk. They can literally have conversations.
Okay,
Zombies
they're
can't talk.
talking zombies.
Ooh,
Are we done
there's
here?
there's souls in their body.
I don't
You
even
can see
know.
the actual soul come out of their body when they actually go to heaven.
The Edo Tensei literally requires a dead person to use. they're dead.
Right, you use a
Okay,
dead person to bring a soul back to life.
No, the
Is
soul
the
isn't
soul,
back
is
to
the soul
life.
not the life force?
He never stated that. Why would I assume that?
Well, I said chakra.
Okay, when the soul left the body, did it move anymore?
Does
My
the
point
body
is that
move
the
after
soul
left?
chakra is a mix of both physical and spiritual energy, and the fact that the soul is there, that means the Edos are in fact alive.
The pain bodies, they're dead, and they don't have a soul in them. They move with chakra.
That's not true.
Why?
Because we actually seen Minnesota's soul actually leave his actual dead body. What are you talking about? You
Hold
actually
up,
seen
hold up,
Minnesota's soul.
But the pain dead bodies are not souls. Edo tenseis are possessed by real souls. And we see Ishiki look at his chakra diminishing when he says his life force is diminishing. They showed a visual representation of this. Kakashi died because his chakra ran out, it went to zero, he just died. So it is linked to life, but what I will say is that Nagato absorbing the chakra from the 8 tails doesn't necessarily mean that he got younger, because then you'd have to make the argument that whenever anybody absorbs chakra, they get younger. So that is not a logical argument there. So I guess what you could say is that Nagato has an ability that allows him to get younger if he absorbs a certain amount of chakra, but that's not the same for everybody.
He became more rejuvenated.
I don't know, he went from an old like Grim Reaper looking dude to like a young, looking man. And
No, he's the same age. He just became rejuvenated.
like energized, he gained his youth. I'm saying his fight against Baryon Naruto, based off the lifespan, we do know that he's losing chakra at the same time, so he's nerfed as well in that fight.
Wait, why would this mean that he's relative to Baryon Naruto?
Because Ishiki is nerfed against Baryon Naruto versus when he's fighting Koji because of the lifespan.
For the sake of moving forward the argument, I'm gonna strawman your point and say that Ishiki is nerfed because he's losing life force, therefore he's losing chakra. So I'm just gonna strawman all of that for the sake of this point. Baryon mode naturally loses life force, therefore Baryon mode at the same rate would just lose chakra, if not faster, because Naruto went out of Baryon mode faster than Ishiki lost all of his life force. So Naruto is at a greater loss than Ishiki throughout the fight, and the gap just widens as the fight goes on.
His timer is less than
His
what
timer,
As a stage mode.
So Naruto is
As a
more
stage
nerfed
mode.
than Ishiki, and as the fight goes on, Naruto becomes even more nerfed than Ishiki is.
Ishiki is already nerfed before Baryon Naruto.
Nerfed Naruto is at a greater nerf than nerfed Ishiki at every point throughout the fight.
Every point throughout the fight, why? Why is
Because
he more
we
nerfed?
see-
Why is he more nerfed than Ishiki at the start of the fight?
Because at the start of the fight, Ishiki hasn't been attacked with Baryon mode yet, whereas Naruto's in Baryon mode, so his time's
Well,
already clicking down.
That doesn't matter because his lifespan is still running out.
At a natural rate, just like everyone else, including Naruto.
Right,
at
so
that
his
moment.
chakra is decreasing.
his chakra
Same as Naruto.
Plus
decreasing.
he's,
everyone else's.
plus he's using the dojutsu that consumes chakra. He's also lowering his lifespan and chakra by doing that as well.
He's saying that Ishiki would decrease faster once Naruto starts punching him due to Naruto shrinking down his life force. So his life force would be shrinking at an even faster rate. Not only that, Naruto's chakra went out before Ishiki's, meaning that Naruto was decreasing faster than Ishiki was.
Yeah, that pertains to like after the fight starts, but what about the start of the fight as well? Because he's fighting before that, and he already
So I
has the
see-
lifespan put on him.
I see what you're trying to do here, and this is only working because I strawmanned this point for you. So what you're trying to say is that because his chakra is shrinking, his lifespan is shrinking at the same rate, this doesn't apply because we know for a fact that you only die when your chakra reaches 0. So if you say have 1% chakra, you're still going to be alive. Therefore, you can recover 100%. Your life force hasn't shrinked because you used 99% of your chakra.
Well, I do think that is the case here.
Why?
Because life force is linked to chakra, and his life force is draining.
Okay, and I just told you why that doesn't apply.
He did reincarnate in an imperfect vessel, and the body was breaking down. So I don't think, as far as regening chakra, I don't think his body was regening chakra. Think about it, that's contradictory to his lifespan draining.
Really?
How is his chakra
Clarifying
regening if his lifespan is draining?
The core of my argument is that Ishiki never runs out of chakra, therefore he doesn't die from running out of chakra. So I agree with you that it would apply to the Naruto characters. I'm not using that. I'm saying specifically in this instance, which I haven't brought up yet, it would just be for the Otsutsuki, who naturally brought chakra into the world. We don't know if this would apply to them or not. We don't know if Ishiki reaches 0 chakra, what would happen?
If he reached 0 chakra, he would die.
Okay, how do you know?
Based on what we've seen in the fight.
In the fight, he doesn't run out of chakra, he runs out of lifespan.
Right, which means
We
he ran out
see-
of chakra.
Even after he runs out of lifespan, he uses his chakra to go to code. Just like Obito, once he ran out of his quote-unquote lifespan, he still used his chakra to talk to Kakashi.
Well, he didn't go to code, he just came out of his karma. How do you
So
know
we
his
know-
soul wasn't just in his karma?
Well,
Okay, the
Ishiki
Obito
directly
example.
said that he had to travel to where code was.
He's doing a
Is
chakra
it-
projection.
He projected through Code's chakra or his own?
So
Just
let
like
me find
Kaguroma.
the exact stupid-
I was gonna use Kaguya. 'Cause when she
Go
got
for it.
sealed, she got her chakra drained and she died, which is stated in the novels.
Why
Because
did Kaguya die?
the chakra was basically absorbed from her, or the chakra was taken out of her from the seals. If I
Is that what
remember.
it says?
Yeah,
That's what happened.
her chakra was taken out and then she eventually died.
Okay, cool.
Hidon also
Now
died.
it's
Hidon didn't
the
run out of
Uzumaki.
chakra, he ran out of hunger.
Hold up. The Uzumaki
I know
clan
that
not
was
have-
that character.
LaCream! I told you that.
This dude.
does
To
not
be
have
fair,
that
Kidon is a different
It doesn't
character.
matter.
Yeah, proceed.
Might be something like Ishiki's lifespan completely goes away. He says the code in the anime, finally my soul has reached you, implying that he still had chakra left over to reach code.
My counter is that Naruto's the Uzumaki. They're known for having more chakra potency and be able to have more seal. If they was draining chakra until somebody died, Koji gonna die first.
Didn't Momoshiki have immortal like pills or some shit like that?
Why are we doing that, bro?
You'd have to show that it's because Kaguya chakra reached 0 that she died, rather than anything such as hunger, or maybe she was crushed to death, etc., etc.
Well,
Because
couldn't
she
it?
had
She was
a
already-
natural lifespan.
Well, it
Can
could
you
be.
guys
It,
counter that point?
it could be that like
Sarron, you're on his team.
Yeah, you understand.
Bro, you
Doing this, brother.
what are you doing? Do you want to switch teams or something? What you doing here, bro?
Why would she be crushed by the seal? She was sealed before and she wasn't crushed.
Because she still had chakra.
You said she still had chakra?
Yeah, so that would just keep her from.
But she wasn't crushed, so she wasn't crushed though. Koji scales over Sage Mode Naruto in AP because he tanked punches from Ishiki, who then got weaker because of life force being drained. And I've already gave evidence as to why life force is linked to chakra. So he was a more nerf version versus Baryon Mode. Then he also goes on to tank hits from Baryon Mode Naruto, which just scales Koji above Sage Mode Naruto. The feats against Koji are more impressive because it's a stronger version of Ishiki.
Ishiki did not get weaker throughout the fight. There was no physical examples, and our opponent never brought up one. I even gave him a freebie saying that Ishiki bled from his mouth at one point. He didn't even bring that up. He brought up no examples of Ishiki actually getting weaker. He just said he did and then went with it, and I showed why he didn't, and then there was no refutation there. He was going all out against Baryon Mode Naruto, whereas he wasn't against Koji, so then even if you want to say that the Ishiki versus Koji was stronger, it would just be unquantifiable how much stronger or weaker, because he's nerfed in one instance and buffed in another.
Kage got her chakra drained. The chakra draining is what killed her. It could be because of the fact that she got her chakra drained, that she was still alive, but because that she no longer has the resources to be able to heal herself because her chakra is drained, she's suffocated.
Well, Kashin Koji pretty much has obviously Toe Sage Mode that gives him enhanced perception, increased reaction ability, obviously power and speed amps. He also has different variations of Rasengan. He basically has a lot of the abilities that Jiraiya has, even with like the using the hair jutsu, and also as it pertains to the natural fire as well. He also has summoning jutsus as well, obviously with the toads, shadow clones. Kashin Koji is also implied to have like a better Sage Mode than Naruto. So like if we take this into like context of a battle, Naruto will have to like use shadow clones to actually go into Sage Mode, whereas Kashin Koji can easily like go into it in an instant. That implies that not only is the Sage Mode better, but it also is going to help him in battle.
Kashin Koji just definitively has more abilities than Naruto. I don't even know if there's a point to arguing this
Oh
one.
my gosh, Sarron.
Quantity doesn't matter over quality, Sarron.
He also used the frogs for different, you can see in different locations at the same time. So it's like eyes, different eyes.
First of all, you said that Koji has better Sage Mode. That literally doesn't make sense because it's stated that Naruto's Sage Mode is perfect. Also, he doesn't need clones in order to go into Sage Mode. He can just do it himself. We've seen him do it himself. This is my favorite part, right? We have never seen Naruto get injured in Sage Mode. This is a fallacy, the no limits fallacy. I can't just scale him infinitely. What I can do is I can scale him to the highest attack that dealt no damage to him, and that would be in Naruto the Last, when Toneri split the moon and Naruto just tanked it. Does Koji have any ability to do any attack that would be greater than moon level? We see Naruto has enough chakra to spawn 5,000 clones. You said that he can use his toads to look kind of like a Rinnegan ability. We don't see Koji actually use this. It's actually Amado using it to portray it off of his glasses, so we just know Amado's glasses is linked to the toad's eyes. We have no idea if Koji can actually see that. But it's stated that Momoshiki is star level. 50% in Naruto was able to make a Rasengan that was able to kill Momoshiki, therefore Naruto is at least double star level in base, and then you stack Sage Mode on top of that, which, based off the curse mark, I'll just assume lowball it's a 10 times multiplier, so that would make Naruto 20 times star level, based on his Rasengan. Alright, so
I don't know if I want to be a part of this anymore.
You're the GOAT.
So, and you know what, I'm good there. I'll just go ahead. Do you have anything that can touch Naruto, and is there any way for him to dodge any of Naruto's ability, considering we've already scaled Naruto to like basically infinitely faster?
We've only seen Kashin Koji summon like a maximum of like 5 shadow clones at once against Shiken. We know that Naruto can summon at least 200 in base, and that was as a teenager, but that was for a training session. I think that we have seen him summon 1,000 in base before. We know that even in base, he can still make Rasengans that are capable of killing people like Fusuma Momoshiki. It's able to send people past the solar plex of the Earth. Like, he literally goes into outer space. But he can summon Gamabunta. Man, he doesn't have more abilities than Kashin Koji, man, okay?
Alright, sorry, got you. Okay, so using this basic scaling, if we're using the 5,000 Naruto clones, all using the Rasengan that was able to destroy Momoshiki, who's gonna be double star level, and then you stack on the 10 times multiplier from Sage Mode, Naruto can destroy 100,000 stars.
This guy.
Prove that.
Can I count or something, or are they gonna keep talking? Can I count something?
Star level, he absorbed the star.
Yeah,
Proven in the novels, which he used Kaguya from the novels, so we're using the novels.
But he
Wait, okay, sorry, you're not
These guys are debating their own teammates, bro. What's going on here? What's going on here, bro?
Dude, do you have any references for Naruto going to Sage Mode without needing shadow clones? That didn't involve Kurama.
Yeah, in the movie he just does it basically.
Judge.
We needed other
I don't know
clones.
what's
Just
going on, bro.
surrounds it like judge.
At this point,
Dude, why are you asking me?
That's
Our
crazy.
teammate, bro. Come on. Wait, what's going on?
he's trying to figure out when Kashin Koji used space time ninjutsu.
I'm trying to figure out when he got face time.
That's him. That's what he said.
Burden
So.
of
I don't know what you're talking about. Hold on.
I don't remember because Kashin Koji is a nobody compared to Code, so he would have to show me that.
Hold on, Code.
Okay.
Hold on, what Code got done?
That cold, bro.
I already scaled Naruto above Code.
This dude just found
Every time
anime
you
to
mention
drop
Cole,
code
I'll
into
start
the
thinking,
conversation, bro. Like, this is
I'm sorry.
What is this?
Oh, he's a running.
I was talking about that bum, bro. This is why I don't trust Google. Koji can utilize the power of a yet unnamed space-time jutsu, as seen when he was able to enter and leave the dimension of the Ten Tails. I don't trust
never
it.
happened.
Oh, it did happen.
If you're calling out your
It's
sources,
on
you
Google.
can't keep
This is
using
what it says on
that's
Google.
what we do in here.
Hold on, hold on,
At
hold
best,
on.
what they're talking about.
Show me the
At
panels.
best, what they're talking about is that he put Amato in the Toad in one dimension and then teleported him to another dimension in Konoha. At best, that's what.
At best,
Yeah,
bro. And then
that's reverse summoning.
that's
Yeah,
reverse
but there was
summoning.
no
That's not
Tentos.
space-time ninjutsu.
We've seen Sasuke summon his bird from the original dimension to Kaguya's dimension and send it
Exactly.
back. So they obviously can't teleport their animal summons between dimensions. So and that's just reverse summoning. So
Yeah.
you go in the bird, you reverse summon it, you travel with the bird. That's not space-time ninjutsu.
He has an arm that
bring
can
up the novels
absorb
at the
jutsu. That's one of his abilities, because it's his arm. So I mean, I would accept that.
No, he took that arm off and
It's one of his arms.
Oh, Rodney, you always
I would accept it. I'm one of the
Rodney.
judges. I'm one of the judges. That's what I'm saying. How you gonna argue with me? I'm trying to give you guys points.
But it's,
Oh my goodness.
see,
alright,
this is
bro.
why
Sauron's too busy being his own partner.
Yeah, exactly, bro. He's not even making points,
Oh
bro.
my God, yeah, if I never.
take a couple migraine pills, maybe some green juice.
Next time we gotta figure out whose team Sarron actually is on, or maybe he can
Don't
just
promote
sit here and
Sarron is never debating for Naruto ever again, bro. Ever again. But yeah.
This man and Donzo are
It's just-
debating, bruh.
It was just, I don't know, it was just so weird to me.